thing. And this is why you want to keep it turned on. I went to Portland this weekend and we had FSD turned on the whole time everywhere because I felt safer. Honestly, it's now that good that I felt so much safer. So I think we're almost there that people will start believing that. All right. Here's big news. This is not quite news yet. This is Kees Roelandschap, and he is part of Mr. Green, which is an organization in Europe that owns, I think, 3,000 or maybe now 5,000 Teslas.
It's a bunch, yeah.
And they're renting it lease out to people, and they plan to be a robo-taxi fleet manager. And so they've been waiting very closely and following closely. How soon is FSD going to be approved, robo-taxi approved in Europe? We all think that it's very full of regulation. Well, Kees published this article. I highly recommend people to go to his X account, read the article. But he's saying Tesla's FSD Supervised is about to launch in Europe. Can you believe this? And the Netherlands will be the first. He's saying that Tesla's not going to wait for this organization called UNECE to catch up. Instead, they're going to use this exemption, this kind of like bylaw, this kind of a roundabout way, Article 39 exemption to bring FSD Supervised to Europe sooner than expected. If approved in May, that's like now, right? April, May, 2 months, Tesla could immediately roll out FSD in the Netherlands, full Europe-wide expansion following later in the year. This would make Tesla the first automaker to introduce hands-free driving under European law, which will be a major breakthrough for autonomy in the region. He says in his article, he explains how is Tesla bypassing this regulatory delays that UNECE has. Why is the Netherlands the launch market, and when will your country get FSD Supervised? He breaks it down. Do you think this is believable?
Well, I certainly think that they're close enough on the ground to follow this very well and have the connections to be able to have a good sense of what is coming. And basically the case that he lays out is that there is this Article 39 exemption that is something that's available in the Netherlands for Tesla to apply for. And it's basically says, hey, instead of changing a whole bunch of the current regulations that exist for a new and innovative technology, we're going to basically, like it sounds, have an exemption where we get to do this new thing and we get to try it. And then we'll, worry about all of the making the regulations and the new technology marry up later. And if they can get that in the Netherlands to work, which they're expecting, like you said, in May, I don't know how to handicap whether or not they're correct, but they're expecting that actually to be finalized and for Tesla to receive its ability to do that in May. That everything is basically processed and approved in the Netherlands. And then once they do that, they'll be able to go. So then from there, there's a pathway for the rest of the EU to recognize this exemption that the Netherlands has given them. And if you're not really familiar with the geography of Europe, the Netherlands is kind of sandwiched in between Germany and France. Belgium is kind of in between the Netherlands and France, but it's still like you've got Germany here, you got France over here, and then there's like Netherlands and Belgium that are smushed together in between those two countries. And so it's kind of like the dead middle of the European continent on the very northern side of Europe. And so that position means that, and the fact that, Europe, they like to have reciprocity on a whole lot of things, helps them to have pull to say, hey, we're allowing this here and we're a member of the EU, and this should be something that the rest of the EU now allows as well. And so we'll see if all of the subsequent things line up. I do expect some pushback on this. But it would be incredible. Like there is definitely a path and a possibility that in 2026 that FSD is actually widely available in all of Europe, not just the Netherlands, but even just getting it approved in May to operate in the Netherlands only. That is a big deal as the first country in Europe to allow it and to hopefully give it full capabilities. If they are able to go straight to FSD V13 or maybe even V14 with the full set of functions that are available here in the United States, basically overnight, that's big, and it signals the dominoes, starting to fall for Europe as well as a market. And that is something that I would, especially if, we see that happening right at the same time, then we're seeing robotaxis launch here in the United States. It could be kind of a violent signal for the market that, hey, wow, this stuff is real and it's happening faster than people expected. And now we actually have to incorporate it into our valuation models much more quickly than previously anticipated.
Global. I'm still very skeptical because it's Europe, right? Regulation and all. But the way you just said, right? If they launch it in the US, which they have, and they are, and it's moving fast, the FSD Supervised is approved in the US for years. Now they got it in China. Is Europe going to sit there, politicians, and going, no, they're going to be going, we need to copy it no matter what. We can't fall behind even further. And so that's the only thing I can think of. And Tesla themselves, they've been so confident that they're going to launch Tesla FSD in Europe this first half of this year. And so where did they come up with that? They must have known about these kinds of discussions that they're already having. So let's hope.
Yeah, I'm sure this is a plan that they developed quite a while back that's just now coming into focus for the rest of the Tesla community.
So this is moving fast. Okay. We know now that BYD announced 2 weeks ago that we're going to include some sort of ADAS to all of our cars. They now know this is table stakes. All cars need to say that they have this. Now you've got